everybody, thanks for joining my channel. If you've been watching any of the other videos out there, I mean, it's just really about PCSing with the RV. But this is a little bit about myself, just so that way anyone that's trying to maybe get some information about transitioning out of the military or being a spouse that's in that process of transitioning, how I relate to you and how you can take some of this information and maybe better your lives with it. So I got out of the Marine Corps back in 2012. I did 4 years in the infantry, got out, decided, hey, I want to go and do something different with my life. Cool. I utilized my post 9/11 benefits. I went and became a helicopter pilot, and I flew for 2.5 years. It was great. Well, in that process, my PTSD got a lot worse and pretty much had to change career paths. It was something different. I just didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I've always had that inkling to help out the military and service members. So found out there was other programs out there. I became I have a master's degree in social work, and then I plan to get my doctorate now here in social work as well, because I really wanted to take what I've learned and teach it to that next generation, because there's only so much I can do on the individual component of working one-on-one, when reality is if I can get further up on that chain, I can impact a greater populace and maybe actually change the system, which is, in my opinion, stagnant. And that's where these videos come into play. It's really about getting more information out there, and maybe somebody can learn something from this and better their lives. If not, then, you know, I'm just talking to a camera and I'm getting some education out of this. With that, you know, as a service member, or as a former service member, now I'm a spouse, I'm a dependopotamus. I love it. Conned my wife into joining the Air Force, and so I get all the same benefits now without any of the work. I make my wife do that stuff. So she's my retirement plan. It's kind of what I've been doing now for the last 8 years. At every duty station that we go to, I'm the key spouse for the squadron. Again, that's that whole avenue that I like to give back. I like to help people. There's a lot of spouses out there, they don't reach out, and especially when it comes to male spouses, we're even less of a populace. That way, hey, I understand what you've been through. I happen to also be a combat veteran with 2 combat deployments to Afghanistan back in 2010 and 11 and 12. I understand the difficulties of being a spouse and having your family gone away. I have 3 kids now. I have 2. One that was born when I was active duty, one when we were just as civilians, and then we had a recent one here not too long ago that was when my wife was in. So having those differences as far as understanding how it's like to have young kids or kids that are already growing up, I'm in it. Trust me, I understand those struggles and differences there. So you want to make sure you have a good handle on all of that stuff that you're doing in the active duty component. Now let's say, hey, my spouse is getting out of the military. Well, what do you do? Or you're PCSing. Sure. But let's say, hey, my spouse wants to get out. They want to, or I want to get out of the military. What do I do? Where do I start? And a lot of it goes with, well, okay, what do you want to do when you get out? Are you doing the same job? Sorry, I keep looking that way because there's like somebody that's like peeking out around the garage looking at me. But what do you want to do? Is it the same job that you did in the military, or maybe you want to do something completely different? Maybe you were in a weird job like me, and infantry does not translate to much out there in the world. Okay, so you need to get new education. Well, with that, where do you want to go? Do you want to go back home? Do you have a peer support network back there? Maybe your spouse's family is over there too. Maybe they have something that can benefit you. Also, so it comes down to location. Hey, sorry, phone got too hot. Obviously you can see there's a lot of contrast here between the sun and Hawaii, and my phone got too hot and said, hey, I'm going to shut down. So got over the AC there, so it should be cooling. Again, what I was talking about is knowing that location and stuff. You want to find that pay location, kind of what makes you feel better about it as far as that job that you're choosing. Now, let's say for whatever reason you're getting out. Your spouse is probably more senior in this than you are. Reach out to your peer support network. Your spouse has been through this. They've been through more than one PCS move. They've had to change career paths already. They may have had to take jobs that are completely different than their passions. Something that you should lean on and be like, hey, honey, or whoever your significant other is, you know, how did you go through this? What did you take away from it? And ultimately, did you still find happiness choosing a new career path? Because I've had to do that. If you ever saw my resume, there is a plethora of different jobs I've done. That's because I took whatever I could, and ultimately it still led me to become who I am, because it still continued growth. It's professional experience and how you word that in your resume and how it all cultivates into the career path you want to go into. It's still beneficial for you. So you're choosing that location, and you got You want to make sure that you're factoring in a lot of different areas. I think there's about 5 key ones there, and you'll learn it during the TAPS anyway, but you got your finances. Go through your TAPS class, go through the financial planning, understand where you're at, because if you want to buy a house, understand when you should be buying a house, what you want to do before you buy a house, especially when it comes to the VA benefits. Having a disability rating there helps you waive the funding fee outside of the fact that you don't have to pay a down payment. So know about that, because if you plan, hey, I'm going to get out of the military, whether I'm retiring or transitioning out right away, you don't want to close on a house until you have that VA rating. So understand your benefits. Again, what you invest into your transition out of the military is what you'll take away from it. Just like any deployment, any movement you've ever done for exercises, you have to learn the culture that you're going into. You have to understand the area that you're going into. Are you doing that same thing? Because you take notes. You spend a year planning for that. That's why the TAPS program is 18 months, or actually 24 months for retirees. So you have 24 months to 18 months. You can start your transition out of the military. It gives you the same amount of time it would take to plan to become a civilian now. Take advantage of that. You have the CSP program for the Army. You have SkillBridge for everybody else. And yes, Army, you can do the SkillBridge too. The Army likes to be different, and they just want to give it a different name called the Career Skills Program. But honestly, take advantage of your stuff, and you can't do it if you don't know your timelines. So going through it, you're like, okay, I want to do this or I want to do that. You should know your plan. Start with, again, your finances, so you know what your debt to income ratio is. Then education. You want to go out there and you want to do this job. Well, do you already meet the requirements? Yes, you are an officer. Yes, you are a high senior NCO, but that job requires a PMP. For those of you that don't know, it's a project management professional certificate. Most industries are going to want that PMP. Yes, we can see on your resume that you were a senior leader and you feel like you should be a CEO, or that you dealt with millions of dollars of stuff. I'm sorry to say, a lot of that does not actually translate over to the civilian side. They don't see that directly. And if you want to just lead projects or something like that, yes, I get it. You were a leader. You understand what you did in the military, but your civilian component or counterparts don't. They don't know what you've actually done, and they don't understand that. But they do understand the civilian equivalent, which is that PMP I mentioned. Through the PMI, which is the Project Management Institute, nationally accredited, that pretty much just says, hey, I'm an NCO or officer in the civilian world. That's what that certificate says. I can lead a project, you give me a task, and I'll knock it out. And I'm going to pay you $126,000 median income in America. That's great for anybody. There are programs out there that'll give you that PMP for free. So if that's something you want to do, look into that. I can't tell you what your future is. I've changed career paths, I would say about 6 different times there, just doing different jobs and realizing I had a passion for it, but it wasn't something that I could just stay doing. I feel like once I learn it, I need to learn something new. I'm constantly always pushing myself to have a wider berth of information and skill sets. So that's me. Maybe you're like, I only want to do this. I've always only wanted to do this, so I'm just going to do that. Know what you need so that way you can complete that portion of it. Mentorship. Oh my gosh, how many times I hear people go, hey, I want to do this, or I have a friend that's out there, or his dad or my dad, they can get me a job. My dad was in that same scenario. My dad was somebody's boss's boss's boss, and I applied for the company that I had worked for already before I joined the military. I thought I was a shoo-in. I did not get the job still. You going into a new job or somewhere out there in the civilian world, do you think you're going to get the job just based off of a cold contact? Like, I'm just going to apply for an open job and hope I get it. It doesn't always work that way. Yes, you may have gotten lucky, or you may have known someone that got lucky and got in there. Great. It doesn't work that way with everybody. If 100 applicants applied and you are just one, you're 1 in 100 now. You're trying to get that remote job because you want to work from home. You're looking at, and again, this is just GS, you're looking at between you and 16,000 other people. Are you better than the 16,000 other people? It's kind of hard to assess that. You need to make sure that if you do find that job, you're reaching out to the mentors that are already doing that job out there. They're already providing you with those resources and services. And they go, hey, I want to help you out. Let me help you with my network, because I'm already established. I'm somebody in this industry, and let me help you get connected to the right people, or maybe I am that person. And hey, you want to work for my company? Let me see what I can do. Or let's work on what we can do now before you get out, so that way when you do get out and you are applying, you are the best applicant you can possibly be when you get this job opportunity. Seek out mentorships. There are so many out there. I can tell you, you can either reach out to your TAPS team, you can reach out to the USO Transitions Program. They are fantastic. They will tailor an entire thing for you. I'll put USO Transitions in the link below, so that way you can just click on it and start that process. They are fantastic. Like I said, they can get you free certifications that are out there for military members, for spouses. You just don't know what you don't know. And that's what this video is about, and this whole entire session is about taking advantage of the benefits or the things that you don't know. That's where the education component, you want to take advantage of your GI Bill, your VRE, whatever there is, or tuition assistance and credentialing assistance. Oh my gosh, had those been things I could have taken advantage of when I was in, I would totally have rocked it to just help accelerate my civilian career. There are certs on there that you could do. Maybe you want to be a fitness trainer. Did you know you can get your personal fitness trainer through the NASM, which is the National Association of Sports Medicine? That's on there for credentialing assistance. That's free if you don't want to use the tuition assistance. Go use credentialing assistance, and maybe you can get those certificates already covered. Again, you don't know, and maybe you have to go to your education center. These are people that their whole entire thing is waiting for you to show up to them. They're not out there going, hey, come to me, come to me. Go to them. Now, ultimately for all this, there's the VA stuff, and that's a whole other niche market that will take, 20 hours to talk about. But just start knowing about your what your goals are. Start planning ahead. Even if you're not at that 2-year mark, or you're just watching this video because you want a PCS down the road and there's some good information from here, especially for spouses too, start planning. There may be something there that you can take advantage of while you're in this process. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Reach out to me, message my email directly. That works out. If you like some of these videos, you like to hear me talk about myself, and I do all the talking, you do all the listening, great. Then this is the perfect avenue for that. Subscribe. What else do they say? They say subscribe, hit the link below, ring that bell. I don't know. If you don't ring it, I don't care. You don't subscribe, I still don't care. I'm not here to try to make money off this. I'm just trying to pass along my information to you. With that, thank you guys for watching. For anyone that does watch, sweet. And if you want to learn more about this TAP stuff, I can go on for this for days. I happen to work for that. That's kind of my job. I've done the whole USO thing too. That is my life. This is my passion, is making sure you guys receive the benefits and can build a tailored career path for you. With that, thank you for watching Winging It with the Whites, and hope to see you at my next video. All right, take care.